Oh my. Nag-slow down yung pen. Wait lang, guys. Okay, so here in mathematical induction or MI, we call it MI, or it is equivalent as PMI, principles of mathematical induction. Now, there are 3 steps, okay, steps. Number 1, or step 1, in module, it's called base step, or I call it verification. Para from the name itself, alam niyo kaagad kung anong gagawin niyo dito. Okay. Step 2, we have the inductive hypothesis. Okay, ano ba? Okay, dito muna pala tayo. Ano ba nangyayari sa verification? Ito yung bine-verify nyo lang kung tama yung formula na ginawa na meron. For example, pag ang n ba ay 1, if n is equal to 1, tama pa rin ba yung formula? If n is equal to 2, let's say n is equal to 1, p sub 1 ba ay tama pa rin? Question mark. If n is equal to 2, p sub 2 ba ay tama pa rin? Question mark. Okay, so tinetest natin dito by substituting specific value for n. Okay, that's why it's called verification. We are verifying if the formula or the equation is true. Now, ano ba yung inductive hypothesis? Inductive hypothesis is a step wherein we assume that P sub n is true. Dito tayo nagmamaang-maangan. Okay? Dito tayo nag-a-assume na yung given statement ay totoo. It's true if n is equal to k. So, it implies that P sub k is true. Diba? Tama, di ba? Okay, so dito tayo nag-a-assume na totoo yung ginawang formula. Bakit natin ina-assume na tama yung formula? Because we already made a verification in step number 1 that the given formula is true for some values of n. For some. It only means we need to check and verify the remaining numbers or values of n aside from 1 or 2. Eh, mas madami yun because it has infinite number, diba? So we cannot do that manually. Step number 3, this is the main proof itself. Dito na natin gagawin yung proof. Okay? Ito yung proof natin when parang show that P sub k plus 1 is true. Ayan. It only means that pag nag-add tayo ng isa pang term dyan, totoo pa kaya siya? Okay? Pag in-add natin ng isa, ng isa, ng isa, ng isa, ng isa, totoo pa kaya siya? Ito yung main proof. Ito yung pinakamahirap na part kasi dito kayo gagawa ng walang format, walang template. And of course, step number 4, the easiest, as long as you got step number 3, we have the conclusion. Don't forget this because this is very important, okay? Because this closes your statements, your essay, your final answer. Understood, guys? Tandaan tong step na to kasi I will be looking for this and this is how I'm going to rate your work from the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And by the way, before step 1, syempre, mayroon dapat dyan introduction. Intro. Okay, ano ba yung intro? Di ba sa essay, pag gumagawa kayo ng essay, you need to put an introduction. Ano ba yung intro? Don't worry, it's just so easy. You just need to copy what the problem is all about. So, kung ano man yung problem, P sub n, B, the statement. Ano ba yung, halimbawa, 1 plus 2 plus 3 ang bigay, plus n is equal to n times n plus 1 all over 2. Halimbawa, ganyan. Kukopyahin nyo lang siya. Sinabi nyo na lang na ang gagamitin kong expression ay P sub n instead of this long mathematical equation. Okay? Para hindi na tayo sobrang haba magsulat ng proof natin. Understood, guys? Okay, walang tanong so far? Wait, may nasa, what's this? Ayan. Si Chinese ba ay gluon? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, ayan. So let's have an example. An example of the problem that we would like to use as, alin mo mas maganda dito? Alin ba guys ang gusto nyo? Sige na nga, ito na lang yung binigay ko sa, eto, yung binigay ko sa photon. Okay, so let's try this one for the sake of those who were not around last time. Green board tayo. Classroom na classroom ang dating. Ayan. Pangit ba? Nakakasilaw ba? Hindi naman. Okay, so here, show that the problem here is show that 3 raised to n minus 1 is a multiple of 2 for all natural numbers n by Vance and Banchoff, 1973. Okay, so ito yung problem na to. Now, at first, before you do the steps, of course, you need to restate this problem or this statement, diba? Okay, analysis muna tayo. Ano bang gustong sabihin ng 3 raised to n minus 1 multiple of 2? Dito natin isusulat. Ang gustong sabihin niyan, 3 raised to n minus 1, pag sinabing multiple of 2, we can use 2 times something, di ba? Let's say 2q. Gets? Where q is an element of natural number as well. Okay? Nakuha, guys? Tama to, di ba? So, multiple of 2 means an even number as well. So, either you use multiple of 2 or even number. It's okay. As long as n or q is an element of a natural number. Okay, so here, alam mo na kung anong gusto mong i-prove or yung statement. So, let's have some introduction. So, let p sub n be the statement that says 3 raised to n minus 1 is equal to 2q, where q and n are elements of, are elements of natural numbers. Okay? So, ito na yung introduction natin. Kumbaga guys, pinakilala mo na kung sino si 3n or si p sub n. Okay? So, kailangan may introduction. So, step 1. Step 1, verification. Now, will this equation or formula be true when we use a specific value for n? So we verify p sub n. Now, if n is equal to 1, then p sub 1, bakit p sub 1? Kasi si n dito, di ba? Is equal to 3 raised to 1 minus 1 equals 2 equals 2 times 1. Tama, di ba? So therefore, 1 is an element of a natural number and 1 is equal to q. So it's even. Gets, guys? So we have shown that when n is equal to 1, we will get an even number, which is what we're trying to get, which is what we are expecting to have once we use the formula or the equation. Tama, di ba? Since 2 is an even number or a multiple of 2, therefore, p sub n is true. Tama? Since napatunayan na natin by n is equal to 1 na totoo siya, so anong gagawin natin? Step 2, we assume that p sub n is true. Okay? So, let p sub n be true, di ba? P sub n. So this is the importance of using p. Yes, Eroy.
Sir, paano po sir kapag gumamit po ako sir ng ibang number imbis na 1 po?
Okay. Pwede naman. Pwedeng 1 million, 2 million. Kung gusto mong pahirapan sarili nyo, yung pinakamataas na number na naisip nyo. So I bet or I advise everyone to use the minimum. Okay? If 0 is part of the element of the set, then use 0. Okay? But then again, if you need challenge, kung nakukulangan ka pa ng challenge sa buhay, use 2,000, 2 million, mga ganyan. Pero pwede naman yun, Roy. Okay? That's a good question. Actually, mas maganda kung dalawa. Pero kung nagmamadali kayo, At kung tamad kayo, okay lang naman na isa. Okay, let P sub n be true. Bakit ko nasabi na totoo siya? Kasi, 10 minutes na lang. Kasi, sa step 1, nasabi ko na totoo siya, di ba? Tama ba guys? So may basis na ako na totoo si P sub n. Kasi, because of the verification. That's why I assume P sub n be true. Okay? So that's the reason why we assume that it's true. That's the reason why we have step number 1, which is a verification. Okay, so let P n be sub true, where n is equal to k. That is, pangit ang sulat ko, no? Okay. Pag hindi naintindihan yung sulat, just let me know. That is, P sub k is equal to 3 raised to k minus 1 is equal to 2q, where k and q are elements of natural numbers. Gets guys? Dapat kumpleto palagi. Dapat pinapakilala palagi yung mga variables, especially the variables that you are just using it at the very beginning or from the first time. Kasi what if that variable is contained or contains real numbers, imaginary numbers? So mamamali ka na doon. May deduction na yon. Okay? Understood? Guys, questions so far? Wala? Okay, now, so eto na yung step 2 natin. We assumption, or this is what we call the inductive hypothesis, IH. Wala, hypothesis lang natin. Totoo si P sub n. Diba? Okay. Kasi, si S1 ay totoo. Si step 3, eto na. Eto na yung pinakamadugong part. We want to show, WWTS, we want to show that P sub n is also true when n is equal to k plus 1. Ayan. Sabi niya, totoo si P sub k. Totoo rin kaya siya pag nagdagdag ako ng another term? Or instead na 1 gawin kong 2, yung n? Ganon. Kasi hindi naman natin pinakita na if n is equal to 2, totoo siya, di ba? Kung ipakita man natin na si 2, si n ay 2, totoo, now, kailangan natin ma-assure na si 3 ay totoo din. Si 4, si 5, si 6, until infinity ay totoo by letting n equals k plus 1. Okay? Hindi natin alam kung anong value ni n. Okay. Understood, guys? Question? Nicola? Wala? Okay. So, since wala na tayong board or space, if you want to take a screenshot, okay lang din, or take a picture, I'm going to cover it by another board. Okay, cover ko na siya,
Sir,
guys, ha? Yeah.
question po.
Yes.
Ire-require niyo po ba na ilagay yung pangalan ng step or
Hindi,
hindi naman po?
hindi na. It's just a guide. Guide lang siya para hindi kayo na, yeah, hindi ka naguguluhan, hindi ka nahihilo. Okay? Pag nagpo-prove naman talaga, hindi naman linalagay yan eh. Okay? Since basic pa lang tayo, then I suggest you should, but it's not required. Okay, so step number 3 na tayo. We want to show that n is equal to k plus 1. Okay, so P sub, wait lang. I'll change the color of my ink. So since n is equal to k plus 1, then P sub k plus 1 is 3k plus 1 minus 1 is equal to 2q. Okay, and we want to show this. This is question mark. Why question mark? Because we don't know if this is true already. This is what we're trying to show, trying to prove. Pag nagdagdag pa kaya tayo or pag linadkihan natin yung value ng n, magiging totoo pa kaya yung value ng p sub n na yan na multiple of 2 or even number pa rin siya? Okay? Nakuha guys? So, yan yung gagawin natin. Therefore, hindi natin alam kung totoo siya. So, what we're trying to do here is we want to show that this left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. Ganyan. That's what we're trying to show. Okay? So, therefore, we're just going to work on one side. It's either the left or the right. Not both. Not neither. Pwede naman not neither, wala ka ng point nun, di ba? Okay, so, Since this is more complicated than the right-hand side, sorry, since the left-hand side is more complicated than the right-hand side, then we're going to work on the left-hand side. Dapat, pag nag-work tayo dito, maipakita natin na even siya. Understood? So, wag niyong kokopyahin to. Okay? So, we have p sub k plus 1. Again, there's no specific format for step 3. Bahala kayo kung paano siya gagawin. Ayan, ganyan. So, 3 raised to k plus 1 minus 1 is equal to what? So, ano gagawin ko dito? This is what we call manipulation of the mathematical expression. By the way, guys, after this, do you still have VC or asynchronous class? What? Hey, blue one.
Asynchronous po module.
Saan?
Ah, sa ComSci po. Tsaka
Comsci.
Chem.
So, hindi na tayo pwede mag-extend? Okay. Pero if you need an extra time later this afternoon, I am very willing to have one since may utang ako sa inyo. Okay. Okay, anyway, so what are we going to do with the left-hand side such that we can show this, that this is divisible by 2? Now, again, the complicated one is the exponent, diba? So this becomes 3 raised to k times 3 raised to 1. Wala, nag-trial and error lang ako. Tinitingnan ko lang kung may maigagalaw ako na magkakaroon siya ng even number. So, since we're trying to show that it's even, I want to show that all the terms are all even. Okay? Tama ba, guys? Now, this is odd, this is odd, this is odd. So, paano ko itong may papakitang even tong numbers na to? Okay? So, ang analysis, I know, sir, that when an odd number is subtracted or added by odd number, the result is always even. Yeah, that's true, but you need to prove it. Okay? That's what we're trying to prove. So, since kailangan ko ng even number, I can re-express, okay, 3, kasi siya yung pinakamadaling galawin, 2 plus 1 minus 1. Tama, di ba? And by the way, always remember that 3k plus 1, 3k minus 1 is equal to 2q. Okay? 2q ba yun? Yeah, 2q. Okay, so we have, let's simplify. So dapat magamit mo to kasi ito yung assumption mo. Okay, so I can distribute this 2 times 3 raised to k plus 1 times 3 raised to k minus 1. Okay, so simplify natin. 2 times 3 raised to k plus 3 raised to k minus 1. Tama, di ba? Tama, guys? Walang tanong so far? Okay, good. Parang si Limewell lang yung nagre-react. Okay, anyway. 2 times 3 raised to k plus, eto, tingnan nyo to, guys. This is somehow familiar. Oy, less than a minute. This is equal to 2q, di ba? Right? 2q to. Ito yun eh. That's part of the inductive hypothesis. Now look at this. They're both even, even, even. I can factor out 2. Ayan. So this becomes 2. Now I can let this to be r. So this is equal to 2r. 2r is an expression of an even number or a multiple of 2. So therefore, we have proven that even if we added or we made the value of n larger than 1, then we still get an even number or a multiple of 2. Therefore, P sub n is true. Yan, sayang nito 1 point din to. Okay? Gets, guys? By the way, matatapos na yung oras. Ano ba? Are we going to have an extra time for VC this afternoon? Just let me know. We can discuss the direct and indirect proof. Yun yung medyo mahirap-hirap. Lalo na yung indirect. Okay? Can we do it by 3 or by 2 p.m.? Hey, 12 seconds. 3 p.m. kaya ba? O 2:30?
Yes, sir. Kaya ba?
2:30?
Kaya ba? Wala na pong schedule.
Sure kayo ah. Okay, this is not compulsory. Yung mga gusto lang.
Okay ba?
Oh wait, less than a minute. Nasa 40:06 na tayo, hindi pa rin
Opo.
nag-e-end. Anyway, may VC pa, may